Alright, welcome back to Flight Sim 2020 and welcome back to the Simworks Studios Kodiak 100 and I guess part 2 of our little holiday cross-country trip. If you didn't watch part 1, I'll put a link to that video up now. Just to kind of summarize, we made our way VFR from Lanseria in Johannesburg to where we are now, Skukuza Airport up in the Kruger National Park. So we've spent about a week up in Kruger, and it's now time to head back home to Lanseria. However, as you can see, we're not going to be able to do this one VFR. So this is going to have to be IFR, particularly if we look this side. Yeah, there is no ways we're making it through. So there's a big kind of weather system that's moved in across most of South Africa, and in a lot of places it is pouring with rain. It's overcast and it's set to be like that for the next couple of days. So instead of kind of waiting for it to clear up like we normally can with the kind of storms that we get here in South Africa, we're not doing that. We're gonna have to go IFR back to Lanseria, which is fine. The Kodiak is more than capable of doing that, and it just means that this flight will be a little bit different than the one we had coming through here. But once again, I've done all of the preparations and things. What I haven't done this time is load the route into the GPS, so we're going to do that manually today, as opposed to going through the full kind of briefing on the route, because the route is a lot simpler. We don't have to look for any specific VRPs or anything like that, because we are simply going to follow our GPS IFR routing. So in reality, we would get vectors out of Skukuza. And in fact, let's just jump into Navigraph here. So this is our route. It's very simple. We're departing from Skukuza. We will be departing runway 35. So that is heading that way into that soup over there. So that's going to be interesting. Right, so take off from runway 35. We then join, well, we would then get vectors, so we'll just vector ourselves to join, because there's no departures from Skukuza, and we join up at Kruger and Mpumalonga's VR, so we'll be flying overhead. We're climbing to 14,000 feet today. I don't think we'll be at 14,000 feet by the time we get to PKV, but we'll see, which is like the complete opposite of the last video where we did everything we could to avoid Kruger and Mpumalonga's airspace. Now we're going straight to the middle of it, and then very simple, we're along UT 446 to Dodo's, then to the Witbank VR, and then we will start our arrival into Lanseria with an ILS approach into runway 7 at Lanseria. We'll go back and park in our same place we were, C7Rs, Charlie 7 right on the ramp. Right, so I mean, that is basically it for the route today. We are going to program that into the G1000 completely manually, because that's something that I haven't really done before, and I haven't actually done that on the channel at all, so we can spend a little bit of time working on that. If we now jump across to our performance, I've done the same performance calculations as we had for the previous flight. So we ended up with about 420 kgs of fuel left. We have a required fuel of 365 kgs, and we're planning to use 195 of that on the route. So we're still landing with more than an hour's reserve. As far as I know, if we go here, it should tell us. Right, so we've got 3 hours and 42 minutes of fuel on board, and range with our alternate and reserve gives us 2 hours and 10 minutes. So if we look at the little graph here, we're planning an hour and 39 flight time using 195 kgs of fuel. We still have that yellow section, which is our alternate and reserve fuel, and the red section is all extra fuel. So we've got plenty fuel on board. I've put Vonneboom as our alternate. Now, Vonneboom is pretty close to Lanseria, So there is a good chance that if Lanseria is kind of not going to work, that Vonnerbom won't work either. Also, Vonnerbom doesn't have an ILS as far as I know. Pretty sure it doesn't. If we can't get into Lanseria, we've got plenty of extra fuel, so then we can just kind of go into a hole and find an airport that's fairly close. There are quite a few options in that area of airports that have ILS systems. We can have a look and see where the weather is the best, where we can get in. Okay, so going back here, we've got plenty of fuel. We've got the same people and cargo on board. So basically we're bringing back the same passengers that we went on holiday with and the same amount of stuff. In reality, we've probably used some of the things. Maybe if we'd taken like food or stuff with, we've probably used some of that. But again, to be conservative, I just kept all the weights and everything the same, which gives us a takeoff weight of 2,847 kgs. That's less than our 3 tons last time because we didn't refuel here. We've just kept the fuel that we had left. Takeoff CG 72.2, which is middle. Landing weight of 2.6, which is moderate. And all of that is all good. We've got a maximum fuel capacity of 853 kgs, which we are well under. And then we have put in all of our cargo and balance that out throughout the cargo pod and the rear of the plane. Right, if we go to our departure, again, we don't actually get METAR exactly for Skukuza. We're pulling Kruger and Mpumalunga's METAR. So it says it's raining at Kruger. It's not currently raining here. Although, again, if we look around, it could definitely be raining up that way. It was actually raining here a bit earlier. When we first walked out to the ramp here, the ramp was actually wet. It has since dried while I've been doing the planning and loading the aircraft and stuff. So there's definitely rain in the area. QNH 1016, it's only 19 degrees, visibility of 8,000, and we're saying broken 100, overcast 1,500. This will update in about 15 minutes, so probably just around when we are departing or just before. And that's obviously marginal VFR. Right. Oh, this is actually set to runway 17. I'm going to change that because I kind of looked at what's going on. We'll get a look at the windsock when we taxi out here and see if maybe things have changed and why this 17. But when I looked a bit earlier, runway 35 was the one to go with. Right, does this runway actually have a slope? So we can jump into Navigraph, and if we go here to Skukuza, I don't know if this will have. Okay, runway 17 has a slope of minus 0.83. I mean, I think that's actually, yeah, so that's why it's put in 0, because it's not even 1%. Okay, this is still saying the best runway is 17. Okay, we'll check that out to see if we can get a glimpse of the windsock when we taxi off the apron here, because we're going to kind of join pretty much in the middle of the runway. Right. Okay. So, with what we've got here, so, right, if we look at the picture here, it's saying we've got an 8-knot tailwind. But again, this is using the METAR from Kruger, so it might not be 100% here. But we are planning, so again, V rotate at 60 knots, torque for takeoff 1640. We've got more than enough runway and clearance is all good. Climb out at 98 knots. And if we look at our cruise, we're going up to 14,000 feet. We'll adjust the temperature as we go. Again, planning 75% power, 2,000 RPM. And air conditioning will be on, although today it's probably going to be keeping us warm as opposed to cool. We'll put in the average winds when we get up there as well. Flight rules IFR, we're landing with an hour's reserve fuel, and our alternate is Vonneboom if we need it, although we've already spoken about that. So our cruise torque, again, we'll probably adjust this as we go depending on the temperature that we actually find up there and the wind, but we're looking at 106.3 on our torque, giving us a true airspeed of around 147 and a cruise time or an en route time of an hour and 39 minutes. Right, that's all good. Destination. So Lanseria is actually reporting VFR apparently. Scattered clouds at 4,500, which means we can get in underneath those. So this is why I wasn't too stressed about the alternate, because the weather down that side in Johannesburg actually looks a little bit better. Also not too windy, and a temperature of 24, so that's more normal. In fact, that's actually still not super hot for December in South Africa. We got plenty of runway, and we have VREF of 69. Cool. The last thing we can do is go through our risk. So we're doing IFR. Now, because it is Johannesburg in the summer, we are probably going to have a red SIGMAT for this area. Again, I said we would maybe try and fly in the morning. That didn't happen. We were busy doing other stuff, so we're flying in the afternoon. So we do have a red SIGMAT for thunderstorms, so we'll put that on just to be aware. There are no storms as far as I could see predicted on our actual route itself. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Okay, a little bit of turbulence. We're going to 1400, so we should be okay in terms of turbulence once we reach Kruger. Right, in terms of clouds, at 14 we're going to be in quite a bit of cloud, and then it gets better as we get to Lanseria. Although there is a bit of lower level clouds over Johannesburg around 9,000 feet. But up at our cruise, it's pretty much all this side and behind us, which this big purple, thick purple section is what I was pointing to you guys earlier, how thick it is in the direction we're taking off. Right. So some patches of low visibility. This will all be over the mountains here, or on the edge of the mountains. Nothing in terms of low vis where we are going. Right, so we're not predicting that we're going to be flying into thunderstorms. Precipitation, we're not expecting that level of precipitation. Forecast for icing, I don't think so. At 140, nothing. Okay, we're pretty good on icing. Do we get it if we go higher? Yes. Wow, so if we're up, so 14,000 is actually perfect, because if we go up to 18, then we have some quite severe, well, not severe, we're getting into kind of moderate icing up there, so we'll keep an eye on that. Let's put that in as light. And that's going to give us quite a high risk factor. But what we're going to do is just keep an eye on the icing on the aircraft, and we can drop down. We can come all the way down to 10,000 feet if we need to. So I'm okay with that. Right, then the rest of this is all fine. Runway condition, if we put this to wet, what does it do? It gives us 1 point, but it is currently dry. Not less than 2,000 feet. Weather conditions, marginal VFR, winds fine. Weather less than nearby approach minimums, no. Precipitation on takeoff, yeah, we're probably going to fly into some rain. No. Okay, cool. IMC at cruise altitude, no, we're not expecting that. Water and mountain crossing, no. Well, beyond glide range, no. IMC higher than freezing level, no. Night, no, and no. Okay, approach is going to be precision. We will do the ILS. Ceiling below, no. No VFR within 75 miles, no. Low IFR within 35, not anymore. Runway condition on that side, we're expecting it to be dry. The weather conditions, they are reported as VR. Note the wind is very chilled. We're only getting 2 knots variable at Lanseria. Visibility is fine, wind shear is fine, temperature is fine. It's not night. There's no rain predicted at Lanseria. Terrain, no. Airport, operating tower, radar coverage, and we're not less than 2 hours. So we do have a high risk factor, but it's mainly because of the icing. So if we turn that off, we're down into moderate. So we've got some alternate plans, but I'm going to leave that on light because we need to be aware of that icing, because just above us there is quite a bit of icing predicted. So that could change. We're going to keep an eye on our aircraft and look for any signs of icing, and if that does happen, we're going to drop to a lower cruise level as soon as possible. Okay, that's the plan for today's flight. Now we just need to do our weight and balance, and then we can jump aboard. So fuel for today, okay, we are 420 kgs, so we're looking down here. We want to set that at as close to 420 as possible. 421 will do just fine. And we're going to put in our weights for our passengers or for our people. No, not 900. And we must remember to use row 2 because we're in Summit. So we've got 60. And then we'll put these in like this rather, so that we can kind of balance it out. Right, then cargo shelf we had. Oh yeah, I need to do maths again. Oh, this one's pretty easy. It's 35 because it's 20 and 15. Cargo bay, so this is in the pod. Let's add these up quickly. So bay 1 is 30, 30, 30. So it's 30, 30, 30, and 30. Okay, nice and easy. 120. I mean, that math is actually easy to do, but it's not all in consecutive order, so it's easy for me to just put it in so I can check which ones I've typed in and which ones I haven't. Right, bay, that was bay 1. Bay 2, we've got 20. We've got another 20. Oh, that's it. Cool. 40. And then bay 3, we have 30, 30, and 10, and 10, which gives us 100. Right, that's all good. We are slightly to the left, but that's fine. Not a big deal. Otherwise, our CG and everything is set. So let's just check. Our takeoff weight is 2940. And our app says our takeoff weight is 2847. So we're about 100 kgs more in the sim, which is probably just because of the empty weight. What is the empty weight for this aircraft? Let's see. Empty weight 1792. 1792, it's the same. So I wonder if that's just like seats and things like that that are installed, or equipment and stuff like that. Huh. Anyway, we're pretty close. So I'm happy with that. That's our weight and balance. So next what we can do is jump aboard and start getting things set up. Oh wow, the sun is actually starting to come through. It still looks, it's definitely raining out there where we're going, but the system is moving that way, which means we should actually be using the other runway, because that likely means, oh wow, that rain is now coming this way. So I think we should get moving, but we might actually be taking off with runway 35. If the stuff's moving that way, then it means the wind is probably blowing that direction. Right, but then let's start getting things switched on. Turn on the nav lights. Okay, let's get the aircons and stuff running. Okay, we can turn on the beacons here because we're going to start anyway. Right, harnesses and fuel pumps can come on. Fuel cut off. Let's just accept that so long. Okay, fuel pump ignition and starter. Right, and we can bring the prop up. And we'll turn on the generator and the alternator. Okay, then let's quickly jump in here. QNH 1016 we said. So we can do that now quickly. Right, flight plan today. We are starting out, of course, at Skukuza, which is FASZ. Wow, look at the weather around. See this? That's what we were looking at first. It's this belt that's kind of closing in on the airport. So you can see this is kind of moving up by the looks of things. See how that orange is spreading this way and these green ones are moving up. So we're going to be heading into this soon. So let's get out of here. Right, we're going to PKV. From there, we need to put in an airway. So we go menu, load airway. And the airway is UT466. Does that exist? Yes, it does. Cool. And we're exiting at Vidbank, WIV. Like that. Perfect. Load that up, nice and simple, and then of course from there we're going to Lanseria. Right, that's fine for now. We'll have a look at procedures while we're cruising because we want to get out of here as soon as we can. Okay. We're all clear. Those people have disappeared. Let's do taxi lights. And we can release the parking brake. We'll taxi to the intersection here with the runway. Let's see if we can spot the windsock, just to confirm, because I think we're actually going to do a runway 35 takeoff. That rain is going to be upon us. You can already see there's a little bit on the windshield. That is closing in fast. You might actually want to wait a bit for that to pass. Yeah, let's see, can we see the windsock? I think it's this side. Oh, right, I remember this one is like hidden in the trees somewhere. Yeah, but the rain is, we should be taking off from 3.5. Now, in reality, I'd definitely probably wait this out. What I am going to do is just jump back into the performance and just tweak some things here to say we have a wet runway. The other thing that we will do is come down here and turn this on. Wow, yeah, okay, we're going to wait a bit. Just see what happens with the weather here. Let's see which way this is moving. Is it now moving in this way? Because if it's moving that way, then it should improve kind of quickly. It's moving this way, isn't it? Yeah, it's coming this way, so we're only going to get worse. Oh wow, look at that. I mean, that is really cool that the weather can change like this in flight sim. Because I mean, that's what happens. This, I mean, not in an aircraft, but this has happened to me in the Kruger in a vehicle. Why is this flashing? Wow, okay. That's a proper downpour. Right, this is moving towards us, I think. Also, I've been saying the wrong runway the whole time. We planned for 3.5. That one out there, which is what I think we should be using now, is 1.7. And that's what the app was initially telling us as well. Yeah, let's see if I can get any weather information in terms of which way the wind is actually blowing here. Pretty sure in reality we'd be able to look outside and see with the rain, but it's a bit difficult to tell. Although I'm expecting it to be coming from this direction we're looking now, because that's where the weather's coming from. Also, I am conscious of the fact that we are burning fuel. But luckily we've got a lot of extra. Yeah, okay, so all of the wind or the weather reports for Skukuza are using Kruger's metal. You see the angle of that looks like it's coming in like this, which would make sense. So I think we are going to use runway 17 when we can get out of here. But looking at this, we're going to be sitting in this for quite a while. I was thinking of just taxiing up the runway and going and parking outside the terminal just to wait. But I don't even know if we'd want to go out there right now when we can't see anything. And what's crazy is if we'd been like 5 minutes less, 5 minutes earlier, we could have departed. Check at that. Okay, so we're now out of the orange bit. The visibility is still not great. So I think we've been waiting here for about 20 minutes-ish, probably. I think what I'm going to do is taxi back to the apron and we'll shut down. No one wants to get out of the aeroplane right now and walk anywhere. So we're just going to chill in the aircraft. There's no point burning fuel this whole time. So we'll go and park up and just wait for this to kind of subside a bit. That green band on the map is slowly approaching, but if we have to wait for it to go green, we're going to be here for another half an hour probably. So we'll just go and chill in the plane for a bit, have a coffee or something, and just wait for this system to pass. And then see if we can actually head out and make it to Lanseria. I'm pretty sure we will be able to. We've got the rest of the afternoon. But yeah, pretty intense stuff. I wonder how long we could sit here with the battery on before it runs out. Probably shouldn't risk doing that, especially with the beacon and that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and switch everything off, and then we will wait a bit for the weather to pass, and I'll join you again when we can hopefully make our way out of here. Alright, look at that, we're actually seeing a bit of blue sky. The rain is starting to slow down. However, I feel like It looks like the weather's going to get worse again just now. So I think we're not going to waste any time here. And we're going to see if we can get out now. We've been sitting on the ground for about an hour waiting for the weather to pass, but I think it might get worse again in a few minutes. So this should still have our flight plan. Great stuff. Right, let's get fired up and get out here as quickly as we can. So hopefully we can make that gap in the weather. So you can see we're kind of just passed into the green, but this yellow section is moving in like this, so I don't want to hang around. We don't need to. Check the rate. Ah, oh, jeez, it's already starting. Right, let's see. As long as I'm not too worried about the rain. It's just as long as we've got a bit of a decent visual reference, we will be able to make it out. Also, funny enough, I was just looking at the weather back in Johannesburg, and that seems to have gotten a lot worse as well, so could be in for a bit of fun getting into our destination. Oh no, this looks shocking again. Yeah, that's enough of a reference for us to take off, I think. Yeah, but then, okay, what I'm going to try is we're going to head down to the end of the runway and park off there a bit, and then see if we get another gap where the visibility is decent, like when we started up. We're gonna go for it. We are now heading into the afternoon, so it's now just about 3:30. So starting to get to the point where we're maybe running out of time. Okay, we don't need to go all the way to the end of the runway because we've got plenty to work with. Do you think that's enough of a visual reference to take off? What does it look like behind us? It doesn't look too bad. That looks a lot worse in that direction. Oh, there's the windsock. You can barely see it, but we're on the correct runway. You see, there's just some gaps through there, but now it looks like we've gotten into a dense pocket again. Right, that actually looks pretty good. Okay, we're gonna do it. Take this little gap. way past rotate because I'm looking at the torque. Okay, we can go flaps up. We're over 90 knots already. It's gonna get bumpy here. Right, not too bad actually. Let's get the autopilot on, give us a bit of assistance here. About now, probably, yeah, there's Skukuza rest camp. Okay, let's get a bit of a turn in here so we can intercept our heading. Once I've got this autopilot stuff dialed in, then I'll chat about what happened on the takeoff. Alright, that's cool. We need to get this all the way up to 14,000. Once again, turning all these dials is just so slow. Okay, that's set. And we're in the soup. Also, just come back to 2000 RPM. Right, and then I also actually just want to get this speed up a bit. Wow, okay, nice and thick up here. Alright, so we'll climb out at about 110, that's fine. About to intercept on GPS course. Yeah, I'm at far climb. I'll back us off to about 1250. So there's no more rain as far as I can see. Okay, we are finally making our way out of Skukuza. We're now heading towards Kruger and Mpumalanga, climbing through just about 6,500 feet. We might as well go here, and we won't actually set, no, the transition altitude. around here. I always turn this knob. The transition altitude around here is about 6,000 feet, I think. It's well below 10,000. Right, let's see if we're going to actually pop out the top of these clouds at some point. Right, so what happened on the takeoff is I always forget that the performance app gives you a torque to set, but in the flight sim aircraft it seems our limit, or our limiting factor, is this percentage over here that hits the red before we actually hit that torque for takeoff. Now I don't know if that's just me not understanding the aircraft fully or if that's not supposed to happen. And then so I'm still looking for that 1600 on the torque, which we never actually hit before, and then that went red, so I had to back it off. And while that was happening, we very quickly passed our 60 knot rotates. In other news, it's currently pouring with rain IRL here in Pretoria, so we definitely are looking like we may run into some worse weather when we get to Johannesburg. Can't actually see that far yet, but there's more green and yellow out that way than there was earlier. We're actually back in the rain again now. We might as well just leave our seatbelt harnesses on. Okay, we don't need the taxi lights on anymore. We'll turn those off. It's actually one little strip of sun. Okay, what I do actually want to do is get the weather radar operating, but I don't actually know how to do that. I've just realized I don't think I've ever actually used it. I thought it would come up here. We only have Nextrad. Aha! Okay, that is a little bit concerning. We definitely need to stay out of the red and preferably out of the yellow if we can. That's going to be interesting. Okay, we're fine for now. It's going to be a bit bumpy. While we're here, we can turn off the landing lights. Okay, it is going to be a bit bumpy, but we're not flying through anything red currently. That looks a bit nasty over there. That's what I wanted, to get that little inset map over there as well, since we're not going to have that here. Right, so that means our temperature is kind of low. So let's get pitot heats on them. We definitely need to keep an eye out for icing as we go. That all looks fine at the moment. We're at 5 degrees. Yeah, we obviously do have de-icing on the aircraft, so we can combat a bit of ice, but we need to be very careful with that. Right, let's see what Navigraph has to say about icing. Okay, there is pretty, I mean, it's moderate, but there's moderate icing all over where we are. That's reported at 18,000. At 14, there's still nothing. So it still looks like we're fine, but we definitely need to just keep checking that. Coming through 12, just about 12,500. So this patch is now becoming a bit of a concern. So that's going to take us through the red. Let's see as we climb if we might get away from it. Otherwise, we're probably going to have to deviate from our route. And I think I'm going to deviate that way rather than, even though that looks clearer, probably better to go that way because there's nothing else out on this side. See, it's all of it is over here. So we could do that, go through that section, which I think makes more sense. All right, 1,000 feet to go. Lovely bumpy ride again. Like last time, I don't think any of these passengers will be joining us on a flight holiday again. Okay, we are coming up to cruise. Okay, 2,000 RPM. The temperature up here is 2. Okay, so 75%, we're at 2,000 RPM almost. Before we actually mess around with that, we definitely do need to deviate from our course here. So we're going to make quite a significant turn. Let's do 210. And we'll go heading, see if we can get around all of this weather. That looks pretty good, actually. Right, we're at 14,000 now, so let's just... no, we're gonna leave harnesses on. Okay, 2,000 RPM, and we want to be at a torque of 951. That seems pretty low. Fuel flow of 225. And this is a horrible ride. Okay, there, so we're around 950. Fuel flow is 213. So once again, we're closer to what the performance app says now. Last time we were about 20 off. Now we're only 8 off. 214, so we're 9 off. The weather radar ahead looks good. That's the kind of nasty stuff that we are doing our best to avoid. And as you may hear in the background of my microphone, it is now thunder. Well, it is now storming here in Pretoria, so we may very well run into some of that weather once we get to Pretoria and Johannesburg side. So yeah, this could get interesting once again. Okay, temperature's down to 1. Don't see any icing still, so I think we're okay for now. I think we should ask them from here to go direct to either Johannesburg or Rand. Okay, but we're definitely gonna turn to 270 here. Maybe we can do it. Yeah, 270 will work actually. That's fine. Yeah, that's actually perfect, I think. Cool, that's going to keep us just on the edge of that stuff. So let's see. The fact that this map you can grab with the mouse and move is game-changing. So I'm thinking, here's Lanseria here. I reckon we go direct from here to the Rand VR, which means we're going to go ever slightly that way, which looks okay. And then from there we can join onto the Lanseria, onto the Lanseria approach, which is over here. Right, let's do that. So that is RA. Okay, so we're just over 10 minutes out, so 13 and a half minutes. What we need to do now is just start looking at our arrival into Lanseria and working out altitudes and things that we need to be at the right time. So we look at our approach chart here, so it's the ILS Zulu for runway 7. We need to be at where does it say? 7,600 there, but it doesn't actually say anything for that point. But 12 miles out, we need to be at 7.6. So we've got to descend about 7. So it'll be 6,400 feet essentially that we need to descend. So that means if we do 1,000 feet per minute descent, we only need about 7 minutes. So we can actually probably start descending at or just before RAN. So I wonder how far it is from RAN to Lanseria. Okay, if we do a little bit of a... In fact, let's do it here. So we are there. Okay, so we're about that distance. So we can probably start descending over Rand Airport. That also means we'll cross over Johannesburg's airspace, 14,000 feet. Hopefully that doesn't interfere with any of the stuff going on here. What I need to know is the altitude of this airspace around Johannesburg. It's 14. We might be interfering with some of the airline operations. Obviously, in reality, air traffic control would tell us what altitude to be at. Okay, so that airspace is 6,500 to 7,000. And I know most of the airliners are actually quite close to Joburg. When you're on approach, or sorry, when you're on the ILS and on final here, you're starting at about 8,000 to 9,000 feet. So yeah, maybe we're okay. Again, if we were actually flying this IFR, then ATC would tell us exactly what altitude they want us. So what we'll do is we'll wait until RAN, and then we will start our descent to 7,600. But we can dial that in so long. Okay, then we can check frequencies. 110.7. So that's cool. Wait, no, that's standby, isn't it? Now we're on the active. Okay. And it is a course of 66, which we'll have to dial in. Because, yeah, at the moment, I cannot do that now because we're on GPS. Right, minimums 4721 we already have set, which seems to have disappeared. Okay, it's there. Just not displaying it there anymore. Okay, so that is all set correct. Okay, next route is actually showing some weather, but that's over Rand, which isn't too big a deal. Lanseria is over there. So it actually doesn't look... There's a bit on the approach there, but nothing too crazy. You know, if it looked like that, I'd be a bit worried. And I think that's going to be okay. Okay, so because even though on here, this one, this doesn't say 8,000. Oh, it's, no, that's max hold. Okay, so it doesn't actually say 8,000, but if we go to this tells us 8,000 feet there. So it's actually given us a top of descent, which we will start 21 minutes, and it's targeting 736 feet per minute to give us -3 degrees. So I've never actually tried the VNav. That might actually just work. So we'll keep an eye on that. Yeah, luckily no icing encountered today. Right, so still over 20 minutes to go before we start our descent. So we're 20.5 minutes. Okay, so we should start descending any second now. Cool, there we go. It's captured that vertical path. I'm just going to bring the power back a little bit. Because as we speed up here, we end up with this being around 1,000, that's actually fine. But you see it's going to increase as we pick up speed in the descent. And we're around 800, that's perfect. Cool, now it gives us bottom of descent. 6 minutes and 38. 6:35. Right, while I'm here, let's look up the QNH for Lanseria. Right, it is 1014. Okay, so I'm actually going to dial us down to 6,700 because the profile is doing all that work for us. If we go back here, it's still aiming for 8,000, which we can see over here as well, because that's the restriction at that point, and then there it'll do the next altitude 7.6, and on our final approach fix down to 6.7. Okay, it looks like we're actually gonna, I think we're gonna turn just on the edge of this rain here. Yeah, check it out. Okay, so there is a bit of a patch that we're going to go through over there. Otherwise, we're still looking good. I don't think we'll have any issues getting into Lanseria on the ILS. Right, we should now start going down to 7.6. Okay, cool, in 46 seconds. This is Krugersdorp Airport over here. Right, we're back on the VNAV path again. And we're in the rain now. Yeah, let's sync up our heading because shortly we'll go to heading mode, switch over or switch our CDI back to nav, and then we can capture the ILS. Okay, it's actually switched over itself and gone onto the localizer. That's pretty cool. So we can put it now into approach, and then we'll be able to capture that glide slope once we intercept that as well. So now we're going to start slowing down. Okay, we'll go prop full forward. Obviously our landing gear is already down, so we don't need to worry about that. Okay, let's go flaps 1. can see the runway just there. Yeah, I forgot to mention, it also auto-tuned our course, which is pretty cool. Let's get another stage of flaps. And we're also below the speed for our final flap extension, which is 108. I'm going to look to come in at about 80 knots here. Yeah, flap set for landing. Landing lights are on. Taxi lights are also on. Cool. Oh, we're getting slow because I'm looking at other things. Yeah, I'm going to take control. Oh, wow, that's a big gust there. Yeah, look at the windsock straight out. Oh, I thought the taxiway was right here. Yeah, as long as I'll get the flaps up. Definitely need to land a bit deeper so that we don't spend so much time on the runway. Okay, but there we are, finally made it safely in to Lanseria. So we'll go back and park at our same stand that we set off from when we initially flew VFR all the way to Skukuza. It is now just under 4 hours since I first tried to take off. Which is crazy. Yeah, we were right at the end here. All right, there we are. Let's just shut everything down. And here we are, back where we started a few days ago. Again, okay, super interesting. Once again, the Kodiak is fantastic. Loads of fun to fly. This cross-country stuff is very, very interesting because if we try and do things properly, it makes it quite challenging. Still got a long way to go to get things like really proficient and realistic, but lots of fun. It is really windy here actually. And yeah, like I said, an hour and 40-minute flight, and it's like basically 4 hours since we tried to leave Skukuza. We spent a lot of that time waiting on the ramp for the storm or for the rain to pass, and then a lovely bumpy ride which is going to cause our passengers who haven't flown before to maybe never want to do this again. But I really enjoyed that. If you made it all the way to this part of the video, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you in the next cross-country flight, which we'll see what we get up to in that one. But anyway, thanks again for watching. See you in the next one.